Hi everybody, welcome back. David here. Today I'm going to talk to you about sacroiliac joint pain. They call it SI pain, and it's no fun. It can create sciatic pain. It can create just general ache in your lower back, more kind of upper pelvis region, and it can be really, really painful to walk, to sit, to stand, to do a lot of different things. Usually there's a position that feels better than others, which is normally on your back or sitting. But either way, today we want to solve the reason for the pain. Now, the SI joint is interesting in that it's the junction between the pelvis and the spine. And that junction has very little movement. It's supposed to move very, very little. There's some slight motion that's designed to aid when you're walking in flexion and extension of the hip joint. Okay, but in general, there shouldn't be much movement. It's a very, very stable joint as it needs to be, as it should be. And it really is what it connects the pelvis to the spine so that the pelvis and the spine move together as a unit, as they should. So when you have SI joint pain, it means that something's disrupted in that joint. And that something has to do with the pressure and force that's going through the joint is now somehow displaced. Meaning instead of the pressure of gravity going through your body, through your hip, through your pelvis, through your spine, and distributed into the SI joint equally, gravity and pressure is being distributed unequally in that joint, and that's one of the reasons for the pain. Now, the reason it's distributed unequally has to do with the position of your pelvis and the position of your spine. But when you have some kind of misalignment, you have a muscle imbalance that's creating a misalignment of the pelvis, a misalignment of the spine, that gravity, that force of gravity doesn't get distributed equally the way that it should. And it stresses some parts more than others. Now, this is how we get all kinds of pains like spondylolisthesis, stenosis, disc herniations, degenerative joints like hips and knees, and so on. And if you have sciatic pain or any of those conditions I just mentioned, then you can find the videos on my site as well for those specific conditions. So first things first, grab a chair and a pillow from your bed or from your couch or anything of the sort will work. And you're going to sit down in the chair. Now, instead of sitting all the way back to the edge, you want to scoot forward towards the middle of the chair. So your hips are kind of in the middle. You're not leaning back in the backstop. You want your feet about fist width apart, maybe just slightly more, but definitely not together and definitely not way out here. So feet pointed straight ahead. Make sure the heels are even, feet are even. You want to train you symmetrically, not asymmetrically. Pillow goes between your knees. And now you're going to take your hips and you're going to roll forward to create an arch in your lower back. So that also looks like hips roll forward, create that arch in the lower back. Now you don't want to lean forward. You want your upper body upright, but your pelvis is moving forward like the front of your hip bone is rolling towards your knees and creating a little arch in your lower back. What that's doing is that's creating muscle tension in the deep hip muscles that stabilize your spine and your SI joint. Okay, so next, once you have that arch, you're sitting up tall, your feet are straight, you're going to squeeze and release that pillow. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Now what you want to focus on is you want to focus on the squeeze and the contraction getting equal on the pillow. You want equal squeeze. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Those inner thigh muscles are going to start to get tired. They're going to get worked. And what we're doing here again is we are triggering the deep stabilizing hip muscles, but we're also starting to balance out your right and left hip. One of the things that causes SI joint pain, one of the misalignments, is when one hip is higher or rotated forward compared to the other. So that means there's a major muscle imbalance in these hips, and that's creating imbalanced pressure on your SI joint. We need to fix that. This exercise is the first step in addressing this. So squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Those inner thighs should be talking to you. You can do about 60 of these. And don't forget to smile. And when, after a while, those inner thighs will get tired. Okay, once you get to 60, set your pillow down. We're going to need the wall for this one. So the chair is going to go over here. You're going to now lie down on your back. And you're going to put your feet on the wall. About 90 degrees at the hip and 90 degrees at the knee. So 90 degrees or so at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee, feet straight up. You're going to take your right ankle and you're going to cross it over your left knee. Now you're going to take your knee and you're going to push your knee with your leg muscles towards the wall. So you're going to push it that way. And you're going to relax your shoulders and you're going to breathe. Now it's important as you're here to make sure your hips stay level. As you push that right knee towards the wall, don't let your left hip shift out. You don't want it to shift. You just want that right knee pushing towards the wall. And you're going to breathe, as I said, and relax your shoulders. And you're going to feel a little stretch on the outside of your right hip. This exercise is addressing that hip rotation and elevation that I was telling you about. So when the pelvis is misaligned, that means there's an imbalance in the muscles that attach to the pelvis and in the hip joint. So we're going to balance out these muscles and get that rotation out right away to take the pressure off of that SI joint. We're going to hold this for about a minute. Okay, again, you're going to feel a little bit of work on the outside. If you feel it on the inside, wait this out until the muscle work goes on the outside. You might even feel a stretch in your glute or somewhere in your leg, and that would be normal. As I said, if there's any pain, always skip the exercise that causes pain and move on to the next one. Okay, next you're going to switch ankles. So left ankle over the right knee this time. You're going to take that left knee, you're going to push it towards the wall away from you. Relax your feet. They don't have to be flexed back. You're just going to relax. Relax your shoulders. And breathe. And again, we're always going to do both sides. Anytime we do any kind of a stretch or a single leg or single arm movement, we're always going to do the other side too. We want the body to be balanced, symmetrical. We're going to train it that way. And you might feel a difference between one hip and the other. You might feel there's more stretch or in one side than the other. And if that's the case, that would be normal, but not okay. We want it to be balanced, so if you need to hold one side longer for 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes, or you need to go back and forth a couple times between sides to balance them out, then you can do that. Okay, do whatever you need to do to make sure it's as balanced as you can get it. Okay, next, stay where you are, but you're going to grab that pillow that you had before. And you're going to make sure your feet are pointing straight up and fist width apart. Pillow goes between your knees. You're going to take your knees and squeeze that pillow and hold that. Now you're going to interlace your hands together, put them behind your head, and your elbows are going to be pulled back to the ground. Now as you pull your elbows back, and if they can't get to the ground, just do the best you can, but elbows stay back, knees squeeze that pillow, and you're going to bring your upper body straight up towards the ceiling without curving your head forward. So you're going to go straight up a couple inches and then back down, up and down. And now remember, you're just going straight up towards the ceiling. You want to look above you on the ceiling, pick a spot and go straight up towards it. Elbows stay back, knees squeeze the pillow. What you don't want to do is this. Okay, you don't want to just curl your head up. That's not doing any work, and that's just working your neck. We don't need that. So you want your upper body straight up off the ground. You'll feel your abdominal muscles working. Now, one of the things we're doing here is we're taking the pressure off your SI joint. We're also reminding your pelvis, your spine to work together as a unit again in flexion. So we're asking the pelvis and the spine to move together to help take the twist and that torque out of your SI joint. You're going to do about 2 sets of 20, 2 sets of 25, so 40 to 50 of these. But what I really want you to focus on, those elbows stay back, the knees squeeze the pillow, and you want to feel the work in those abdominals. Now, if for some reason you feel any discomfort in your SI joint, you could always scoot closer to the wall, which makes it more hip flexion, takes more pressure off your lower back, and you could do it that same way, but keep squeezing that pillow. Okay. So when you get to 40 or 50, not even sure how many I've done, and when your stomach starts to tell you, then take the pillow out and time to stand up. Now, we've done just a few quick exercises here. You just want to relax, hang out for a second and see how you're feeling. See what's different. You should feel like your weight distribution is pretty equal. You should feel pretty balanced, pretty grounded, and hopefully already the pain is gone. We're not done yet. One last exercise. This is called the wall sit. you've done it before, we're gonna lean against the wall, walk your feet forward. You might need shoes for this. I have a hardwood floor and I have a yoga mat underneath this, so I'm pretty stable. But if you need shoes, get shoes, or take your socks off. You're gonna slide down the wall till your hips are still above your knees. You don't want them to go too low. You still want them slightly above your knees. You wanna make sure your feet are straight, fist width apart. Shove the small of your back flat into the wall. You're gonna hang out right here. Now you're gonna hang out for about 30 seconds, a minute if you want to. And what this is doing is this is balancing out the weight distribution right to left. It's taking the twist further out of your SI joint. It's reloading your spine, your pelvis and your spine equally. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll feel a lot better and walk away without that pain. So like I said, about 30 seconds to a minute, the thighs are gonna work. Shove the small of your back into the wall, take those leg muscles and push your back into the wall. Your thighs will be talking to you and eventually they're gonna start screaming if you stay here long enough. We're not going for the record today, just gonna do it as long as is needed to get that twist out, which again is about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, we'll call that 30 seconds or so. Come on up. Shake it out, walk around, see how you're feeling, and hopefully you feel already a lot better. Now again, this was for the SI joint. If you have sciatic pain or you have stenosis or spondylolisthesis, see my videos on that. And otherwise, thanks for joining today, and I hope to see you again very soon.